What's up YouTube? It's your boy Nash here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another episode of WWE's Biggest Issue. Now this week's episode is going to be a little bit different than normal because this episode is for those who are like me and watch NXT UK every single Thursday. So if you guys did not know, this past Thursday NXT UK celebrated its 200th episode. Sorry guys, my chair is being weird. There we go. Fixed the back. There we go. Anyway, you guys know that NXT UK celebrated their 200th episode by having arguably one of the biggest main events in NXT UK history. Jordan Devlin one-on-one with Ilja Dragunov for the NXT UK title, where the winner will be champion, the loser would leave NXT UK. Jordan Devlin ended up losing, even though it was not without controversy. If you know, you know. That being said, the question now becomes, with Jordan Devlin now potentially getting called up to NXT here in the States, who is next in line for a shot at the NXT UK title? I'm only targeting those who are singles competitors or who are in factions that have their own championship aspirations, if you will. So we have A-Kid, we have Charlie Dempsey, we have Eddie Dennis, we've got also Dave Massive, Jack Stars, Flash Morgan Webster, even though he's still out with an injury. We got all three members of Gallus. We have Joe Coffey, Mark Coffey, and Gallus, and Wolfgang. Kenny Williams, Mark Andrews of Subculture. We have Noam Dar, even though he's the Heritage Cup champion. Primate, Rampage Brown. I think he's still out with an injury right now. Rohan Raja, Sam Gradwell, Saxon Huxley, Shaw Samuels, T-O-Man, T-Bone, Trent Seven, Tyler Bate, even though they are the current tag team champions, and of course Wild Boar, as well as several others that are on the roster as well. If I were to pick 5, and I'm actually going to be picking them off one by one, just because I feel like that they're pretty much long overdue a title shot, and one of them is obviously Tyler Bate. The reason why I say Tyler Bate is because he was the first ever NXT UK champion. He won by defeating Butch, one of his good friends, or I guess Pete Dunne for that matter, in the inaugural tournament, and he then went on to become one of the great champions of not just of NXT, but of all of WWE and all of European wrestling. Obviously TakeOver Chicago, he ended up losing it to Pete Dunne, and Dunne became the second longest reigning champion of all time before losing it to GUNTHER, before GUNTHER lost it to Ilja Dragunov. Tyler Bate has had quite the interesting on and off career in NXT UK. Obviously, not only becoming the first ever NXT UK champion, not just becoming the Heritage Cup champion, but being the only one in NXT UK history to become a Triple Crown champion. But let's also not forget, he's a former NXT Tag Team champion as well, alongside Trent Seven, which didn't really last long, to be honest. But I feel like even though Mustache Mountain are now the current Tag Team champions, I feel like as if Tyler Bate definitely deserves a singles title shot, and what better way than to go after the NXT UK title. Another person as well that comes into mind that I feel like should get the title shot is Teal Man. And I know what you guys are thinking. You're thinking, why Teal Man? Truth be told, Teal Man is, despite being a heel in NXT UK, he's actually pretty good. I have to admit. He's actually been really good in NXT UK, and he's done quite the interesting he's been quite the interesting interesting superstar to say the very least. Where with him, it's all about the mental games, the mind games, and De Familia. That's the name of his faction, De Familia, where it's him, Rohan Raja, and Charlie Dempsey. As of right now, the way I see it, Teal Man has had quite an incredible run in NXT UK as far as his tenure on the show goes. But I feel like as if even though Teal Man hasn't had even though he hasn't had a whole lot of matches on NXT UK, I feel like as if that he definitely deserves a title shot, just so he can further establish his dominance in NXT UK. And speaking of dominance, Sam Gradwell. Gradwell is another one I believe should be one to challenge for the title because of this new demeanor, this new side of him that he has. Ever since Kenny Williams took his mohawk off, the last piece of his mohawk, ever since he took that off of Sam Gradwell, Sam has been a completely different person, and he's been a little more dominant as of late. Yeah, it is true that he hasn't had a lot of matches since that moment, but you have to remember Sam Gradwell, when NXT UK first started back in 2018-2019, he suffered a knee injury and he was out indefinitely throughout the time that NXT UK was around. And by the time NXT UK was able to host matches like they have been now, ever since that night, Sam Gradwell has been dominant. He has dominated NXT UK with an iron fist, and a guy like him definitely deserves a title shot because of who he is, what he's capable of, and it all comes down to how far it mainly just comes down to how far he's willing to go to get his hands on the NXT UK title. But speaking of going far for a title, and since we're on the topic of Kenny Williams, yes, I am here to talk about Kenny Williams. And the reason why I say that Kenny Williams deserves a title shot is because when the NXT UK Tag Team titles were first introduced, he and this other superstar who is no longer in WWE, unfortunately, Amir Jordan, had started to team up together. They gelled pretty well for a bit, but up until last year, it just was not up to Kenny's standards. Kenny Williams believes that Amir Jordan was holding him back, but in reality, he was holding himself back. Amir Jordan was trying to be the glue of the team, but it just wasn't meant to be. But let's also not forget, even though Kenny Williams is the biggest jackass in NXT UK, people forget he's pretty crafty in the ring, and with a moniker like that, could really help him step up his game into becoming an NXT UK champion. Maybe even go after the Heritage Cup title, which is a very high possibility. But Kenny Williams, I feel like he is long overdue a singles title shot. Now, as far as Joe Coffey goes, I would say Joe Coffey, but I don't think he's going to be going after any championships anytime soon. But if I had to pick one more person to go after a singles title, I would have to say Shaw Samuels. And the reason why I say Shaw Samuels is because of the fact that Noam Dar has the NXT UK Heritage Cup title. Why not have Shaw Samuels match it by going after the NXT UK title as well? And plus, he's a pretty rugged dude. He's a pretty crafty dude in the ring. I don't think anybody could do it better than him. But if I had to pick two honorable mentions, I would definitely have to say Wild Boar. I would have to say Wild Boar and that's a hard one. That's actually a hard one to think about. I would say Wild Boar and Saxon Huxley. And the reason why the reason why I say Wild Boar is because when Primate first started in NXT UK a couple of years ago, they basically teamed up together and they were known as the Hunt, and they just dominated. They dominated NXT UK's tag team division with an iron fist. That was until Eddie Dennis manipulated their minds and just attacked Subculture, so. And then when Wild Boar was out with an injury, T-Bone came into the fray, and thus symbiosis was formed. Now that Wild Boar is back, and I mentioned this on my Instagram story, maybe it's a possibility that Flash Morgan Webster and Danny Luna can come back to NXT UK, and Wild Boar joins Subculture. It's a possibility because Webster and Andrews have known Wild Boar, knew Wild Boar for 20 plus years, and that pretty much gives him an advantage to become a champion in NXT UK, and he's long overdue. In fact, there's a long list of dudes in the entire NXT UK locker room that are long overdue a title shot. Whether it's the Heritage Cup title, the NXT UK title, or the tag team titles, they're long overdue a title shot, and Wild Boar is definitely one of them, as is Saxon Huxley. I know that some people have thought low, were thinking pretty low of Saxon Huxley, but people forget that even though he's not all there, he's actually pretty good in the ring, and I think that's the one thing that could give him the edge to potentially become a champion in NXT UK. So on that note, among the 5 that I mentioned, you know, the question becomes, who deserves the next shot at the NXT UK title? I think it's pretty obvious that it definitely has to be either Teoman or Sam Gradwell. But if I had to pick one, I gotta go with Teoman. I think if he were to take the title off of Ilja Dragunov, not only would that write Dragunov off to go to NXT here in the States, but it will also help Teoman establish dominance, not just as the leader of Die Familia, but it would have him establish dominance all over NXT UK. But with that being said, that brings me to the question of the day. Who do you guys think should be next in line to face Ilja Dragunov for the NXT UK title? Let me know down in the comments below. And that will do it for this week's episode of WWE's Biggest Issue. If you guys enjoyed, and you guys want to see more in the future, which get posted every Monday, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, give this video a thumbs up, and make sure you guys turn on that notification bell so you guys do not miss out on any future content that comes your way. And as always, make sure you guys follow me on Twitter and on Instagram. All the links will be in the description below. And if you guys have any fan mail that you guys want to send me, and you guys want me to open it up on the channel, all the info will be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.